Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the Divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
This prayer is to Lord Krishna, who is beautiful as blue sky, boundless and ever free. He is dancing and playing beautiful flute music, all the gopis and Sri Radha merrily dancing to the music. O beautiful Lord Krishna, please protect us. Krishna,
I'm reading from the book Meditation and Spiritual Life by Swami. The chapter is Self-Surrender. Some practical suggestions. Do not make a blueprint of your life. That does not mean you should not prepare a general plan. Plan your future course in a general way, but then leave everything to the Lord. Let Him make you do what He likes. Let us wish strongly for spiritual progress and spiritual experience. But let us leave the details to the Divine. As we do not always see things clearly, we cannot but think about our future and make plans. But all these are to be ultimately left to the Divine. We should gradually learn to be in tune with the Divine and follow the Divine will. If we sincerely persist in this, we will come to a stage when our whole being will be in tune with the Divine. Remember this, if one practices some complete self-surrender, one cannot take any wrong step. People often glibly say, I have left everything to God, and then they go and do as they please. A man who is attached to the objects of the world or to his own desires and prejudices cannot think of self-surrender. We should always know that without a certain minimum of detachment, self-surrender is impossible. For complete self-surrender, complete detachment is necessary. You need not worry so much about attaining calmness just now. There are two types of calmness, egocentric and cosmocentric. There are two types of calmness, egocentric and cosmocentric. Some people appear to be calm because of their lack of love or sympathy for others. They are not bothered about other people's sufferings and appear to be balanced and strong. But they collapse when something happens to themselves. It is better not to have this type of calmness. The cosmocentric calmness comes as a result of self-surrender to the Divine by coming in touch with Him. Only when we are established in the universal consciousness can we attain real calmness and balance under all circumstances. Do not weaken yourself by being too self-critical. People go on complaining about their life because they allow the causes of their complaints to continue. Unless we make an inner change, unless we overhaul our mind, it will go on giving troubles to us. Do you know Sri Ramakrishna's parable of the pet dog? A dog had been so much fondled in the beginning that it had made a habit of jumping onto its master's body. Later on, the master wanted to control this, but the dog would not obey. Even when it was beaten, it tried to jump onto the master's body. Our mind is just like that dog. It has been pampered so long that it is difficult now to control it and surrender it at the feet of the Lord. But through repeated practice, we got to make the mind surrender itself to God. First of all, bring about a transformation in your own life, at least to some extent, through regular sadhana, and then take up the ideal of work and worship. Only you should see that you do not take up more work than you can joyfully do. In the beginning, it is not possible to maintain constant remembrance of the Lord. So offer all that you do to Him, at the beginning, at the end, and if possible, even when you are engaged in work. Work becomes mechanical only when you forget the goal of your life, when you forget that whatever you do is a means to realizing God. Yes.
Now time for meditation. Good morning. Today's subject is Worship God Now. In fact, it is from Shankaracharya, Bhaja Govindam. So, Bhaja Govindam is a poem in Sanskrit by Shankaracharya. There is a background to that poem. Shankara came, and Shankara Jayanti is after 4 days. It's on 23rd of April this year, according to the Tithi. So Shankara's advent in Vedanta philosophy was a great, powerful addition to great history of savior that come in the Indian subcontinent. Though Shankara is not regarded as incarnation of God, he is regarded as Acharya, but his contribution to save Hinduism was great. Before Shankara was born, there was the influence of Buddhism in India. And due to the decadence of time and its influence of time, the true religion was lost. In Hinduism, there were many sects sprung up. There were many teachers. And those started fighting among themselves, battle. Nobody wanted to accept any other faith. So all were thinking, I am the most powerful and my faith, my opinion alone is right. All others are wrong. And then Hinduism, in Buddhism came. There was also decadence in Buddhism. Buddhism also, there were many mistakes, wrong things were being done. And there came Anastikavada, that God is not there, no emphasis on that in Buddhism. So it was a turmoil in the philosophical life of whole of Indian subcontinent. And that time comes Shankaracharya, a child prodigy, and at 16 years of his life he had completed study and writing of all the explanation of the Shastra, the scriptures. The Vedanta, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, all he had studied, understood and written on that. And after that, he lived more 16 years, and that was the time when he moved all around India, preached Vedanta, brought different groups of Hinduism together and united the Hindu philosophy, through the Vedanta. So that was a great gift of Hinduism was Shankaracharya. He was a proponent of Advaita Vedanta, but he was versatile. He was a great karma yogi, great bhakta. The prose and the praise and poetry those he have composed on Divine Mother, on Shiva, on God, was marvelous literature in Sanskrit. And his knowledge of Sanskrit and Sanskrit, presentation of Sanskrit in the easy language was done by Shankaracharya very much. He revived the ritualistic worship that was stopped because of the influence of Buddhism. And many temples were just within the forest like that, the wilderness had grown around, there was no worship. Shankaracharya went all over India, and in many places he revived the worship of deity in the temples. So, not that Shankara was only Advaita, only think of Brahman and nothing else. He was not that. He came as a total reviver of Hinduism in totality. That was the contribution of Shankara. So gradually people started listening him, people were followed because of his argument, and in debates he could explain the validity of Vedanta, and people started following him. Great teacher, great mind, great spiritual giant. They say that he had the power of Mahadeva, Shiva himself. That's why Shankara, the great god, Mahadeva, and had the power of the Shankara Acharya. Shankaracharya with his disciples once was moving in the streets of Benares, Varanasi. So he heard from somewhere in house, in room, the sound was coming. In India, we have to open the windows, and the sound comes from inside out and outside in, also it goes. So someone was reading about the grammar. The person was old and he was reading Dukriya Karane. To do means work. Work means to do. Karana is to do. Dukriya. So Shankara said, then at that moment he thought, this man has grown in age, he is advanced in age, and still he is after only grammar. And what about God? He has given no time to God. He has no worship, no feeling. Then what will happen of this man who is only after the secular knowledge, even at the fag end of life? So that time itself he says that Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Oh foolish person, that is what Mudhamate. Oh deluded person, worship God. Worship God. You have become foolish by only reading grammar and literature and other things and forgetting God at the fag end of life. And he said, death, we don't know when the death comes. Samprapte sannihite kale. When the death comes to us, Nahi nahi rakshati dukriya karane. Then this grammar will not save you, will not protect you. What protects when death comes? It is God. What gives you strength in life and at the moment of death? It is spirituality. That's what Shankara said. And he composed, they say, 12 verses. There are 12 verses of Bhaja Govindam. They are also called Moha Mudgara. Moha is delusion. Mudgara is something which removes, which breaks the delusion. And these 12 verses were composed. Shankara at the time had 14 disciples. Other disciples were also so inspired by Shankara's elevated state of the mind and composition of the verses. They also composed, each one composed one verse, and that is called Chaturdasa Mandarika Stotram. This is also combined together, and now today we call Bhaja Govindam. Though it has been said, Bhaja Govindam, to worship is to seek. And what is God after all? What is Govinda? Govinda is the name of God. And God is essence, the truth. And that is equal to ourself. Bhaja Govindam, worship God, can also be seek your true self. Oh foolish, seek your true self. What are you thinking about? Death is not far away. And why worship now? So worship only when it's old? But we don't know when the death comes. Kohi janati kasyadya mrityu kalo bhavishyati. Who knows when the death comes? That's why yuvaiva dharma shilasya. Therefore, be religious. Even when you are youthful, lot of energy, mind being dissipated, that time itself we have to hold on to dharma, hold on to religion and proper regulated life of discipline. Otherwise, in old age, if you are not disciplined in your youth, you will not be able to discipline yourself in old age. When senses become weak, mind becomes weak, that is not the time you can try to discipline. When you are vigorous in your senses and mental strength and physical strength, that is the time you should try to shape your destiny, shape your thoughts, and that is done by self-discipline and with the help of spiritual awareness. So Shankara in this verse says, grammar will never help anyone at the time of death. While living, strive to realize the deathless state of purity and perfection. So Shankara that wrote me some few verses, some of them I'll try to bring to you today. That was the first one. Next verse he says, Mudha jahihi dhanagama trishnam guru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam. Oh fool, Mudha again he brings. Those who are not spiritually minded, for him, they are not really wise persons. Wise should be spiritually oriented. Otherwise, it is foolishness in this world and getting this beautiful, wonderful human life and dissipating all energy in only mundane search and eat, drink and be merry and losing the right thing that you would get with this human body and mind and intellect. That is having something great and not utilizing that, using that for achievement of higher things, and such beings are called fool. He said, give up this passion for acquiring wealth. If you do that, you will be like a foolish person. Yallavase nija karmo patam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. So, what the wealth does, you should not be indulged in just pursuit of the world. And he said, you know how much one lives? How much one lives? How long is life? 100 years, 80 years, 70 years? We don't know at all. In the verse number 4, he said, Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. This is all Bhaja Govindam. He says, you know the water that falls on the leaf of a lotus flower, the lotus leaf, it is very momentary. Water on the lotus leaf, if a breeze comes, the water falls again in the pond. So like that is the life. Tadvat jivitam atishaya chapalam. That is life. When it falls, when this life is existing, the water on this life of the world is there. But what moment the breeze comes in the form of death, and you are again disappeared, human body is gone. So be careful, the death may come anytime, and worship God now. begin your spiritual orientation now. It's never too late and it's never too early. So whatever time you have the inclination or you have come in contact and hear some scriptural things, Shruti that comes, then go for spiritual practice. That's what is being said. And he says about the truth of the world. You are too much attached to your family members. Shankara said in that 12 verses, he said, Yavat vitto pardana shakta tavan nija parivaro rakta. Oh, what to think of God? I am too much involved with my children and grandchildren. They love me so much and I cannot live without them. They are my life. I have no time to worship God. I have to take care of my grandchildren. I have to take care of these things. So Shankara says, you know how much they love you and why they love you and how long will they love you? Shankara says, Yavat vitto parjana sakta. Till you are productive, until you earn money and you are able to give them something, they will love you. Then when paschat jivati jarjara dehe vartam kopina prichati gehe. The old man sitting, lying, and with whole body, jarjara dehe, and nobody is there to ask him. It was in the 8th century also. Now we complain, oh, the time have changed, where children don't take care. When we are old, we are alone. We thought they will take care. It is not the law of this world, creation. It is in 8th century also Shankara saying that. When you become old and you are not productive, you can give nothing, you have nothing to give to them. Nobody will even ask you, Vartam na prichati, not even asking, Daddy, how are you? That is not there. Even in that was there. That is the reality of the world. Till you can give, you are respected, cared. What for your care? Not for yourself, but what you have. There is one story that one old lady was there, old widow. And she used to come with a trunk and used to visit one relative after another. And used to go and stay for some time and after that go to another. And people had rumored that she had lot of wealth, gold and diamond in that trunk, suitcase, heavy suitcase she used to carry. And she used to take care of it. Wherever she goes, she would carry that, and in rooms she used to look after, see that. And people had that rumor she had all of that. So wherever she went, she was welcomed. Come, sit down, don't go to go. They thought she will give something to them before going, but never she gave anyone. But people heard that she doesn't give to anyone, but whoever she goes, she didn't give to them, but she may give to us. Like that she was thinking. The people used to think, and they treat her very well. The old lady, where she will go, she had no one. One day what happened, this thing was more, people heard this thing, and thief also heard that there is an old lady visiting her relative and she had lot of good gold and precious stone diamonds in her trunk, in her suitcase. So one day thief came, and the thief came and was taking away the suitcase, and somehow the lady got up, woke up at night, and she told him, then the person opened the suitcase and he said, please don't tell what is there inside. What is there inside? There is diamond and all gold you have put, we have all heard. So you can open and see. He opens that, there was nothing. Few stones to make it heavy and few old cloths of the lady. And she pleads to the thief, please don't tell this to anyone that you had come and you had come to steal my suitcase. Please don't tell this to anyone, she said. Because the wealth was the thing that was giving honor to her. They were being respected by. If she had nothing, then she would not be cared for. That is the nature of the world. Yavat vitto parjana sakta. Until you are able to earn money, tavan nija parivaro rakta. Until then, you are able, your family will be attached to you. Your family or people. Till you are productive, till you can do something. If you say to your grandchildren, oh, I have to go to temple or I have to go to retreat, I cannot do babysitting for your son, to your children, they will not come after a few times, they will not come to you. Oh, father is nothing, then they will sometime they will ask, but what has happened? He is not doing, he is not of any help. Till you give help, until then they are very own. That is the nature of the world. It's not bad to reciprocate, to give love, but we should understand that the relationship in the world is give and take. till you are able to give, then they will ask you, they will take care, they will do everything. When you have nothing to give, and then naturally that reduces. That's what Shankara says. In that way, Shankara nicely describes, very, very nicely, Ma Kuru Dhana Jana Yovana Garvam. Now what happens? People are very proud. How the ego comes? Ego comes of Dhana Jana Yovana. One is the wealth. It brings a lot of ego to a person. I am a rich man, I have wealth. That is very dangerous thing. Wealth is very dangerous thing. And the ego is shown, manifested in many ways. You want to show how rich you are. Somebody said there was a rich person and that person had gifted to his wife on anniversary day or birthday a car having like 300 pieces of diamonds studded on it. What the car will do with that? So that type of ego manifestation, ego of wealth being manifested. I will make the richest house, I will make the tallest house in my house will be like that. That is the manifestation of ego of the wealth. So that has no meaning, doesn't make any sense. So this is one thing, Ma Kuru Dhana, Jana. And people are also very proud of their people following them, followers. I have, there are many gurus nowadays coming, 1 million followers, 2 million followers, and they are very proud of that. And they do something, the police comes and takes them. So this pride, ego in having the followers, political leaders, till they are elected, they are so much powerful and they show power and so much egoistic. One person was going and he had to pay the toll tax and in India, and he was a member of parliament. He said, "Don't you know I am member of parliament, I am not going to pay you tax." And when this person said, "No sir, you have to pay tax," and he was very angry and brought out his gun. So like that thing, ego of having followers, of being in power, because of you have so many persons following you. That's another ego. Dhana Jana. And another ego is Yovana, youthfulness, strong, good looking, intelligent. Those are also ego generating things. Not that these things are bad, but we should be, what Shankara said, be aware that these are temporary features. They are there today, gone tomorrow. So don't be proud of that. Harati nimeshat kala sarvam. So all this time may take away, in a moment the thing can go. So that's why be always worshipful of God. Remember the reality, remember the truth of the nature, the way that the world moves, the way the world goes. That's how Shankara goes on saying in 12 verses about the philosophy of life and what one should do in this temporary life that is given to us, very short life that is given to us. Whatever is our life, 70, 80, 100, 125, it's even, it's still short. That's what he had said, Nachiketa. When Nachiketa went to Yama and asked for the knowledge of the self, what is Atma Jnana? Is there self? Is there something remaining after the body dies, or everything finishes with the death of the body? So I must say, why are you asking this question? It's very tough. Even gods do not know this thing. And you, a mere boy, are asking this thing? Rather, take all the wealth that I have a vast land as much as you like in the world, and have a life as long as you want to live. And enjoy the world. Enjoy life. Don't ask this question. It is very difficult. Even gods do not know. Then what Nachiketa replied, the boy, small boy he was, he says, you are asking me to enjoy the things, how much can a person, man or woman enjoy? It is the power of senses to enjoy is very limited. It is not that the Shobhava, and how much the person lives, or whatever long life one lives, one day one has to die. Death is inevitable, and the moment you die, you feel, oh, how much I lived, it was not much. So, there is no satisfaction of living if you are attached to this life. So that's why Shankara says, don't be attached to this length of life, it may go any moment. Be always aware of death may come any moment. And then, that's why you get connected to God and worship God. Now, how to worship God? Worshipping God are many methods. By worship, we often know that we go to church and you listen to sermon and bow down to, you kneel down to the cross, in front of cross in the church, light some candles and read from the Bible. That's one type of worship. In the Hindu method of worship, go in front of a deity, in front you have a picture or you have a statue idol, and then offer them different articles of worship, the light, the incense stick, and the water, and what Sri Krishna said. I don't need many things to be offered, not 16 things, not lot of elaborate food and all those things. You can offer me anything simple like patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Offer me flower, a leaf. Even if you can offer me leaf, patram, pushpam, and phalam. You can offer fruit, any fruit, and toyam, water. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. How to give, that is important. What you give is not important. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Bhaktya, bhakti, devotion, love. Do you love? Do you feel my presence? Do you have that love for me that you have for your dearest things in the world? If you have that, whatever you offer, that I will accept. That's Sri Krishna says. Not that what you offer, but how you offer, with what intensity and thought you offer, that is important. And when we offer things with love, we get connected. The main thing is getting connected with the Lord. That is one type of ritualistic worship. In different religions, there are different ways of worship. Another worship is we offer this flower, fruit, or other articles. But there is another worship. We can offer to God everything that we have. Anything that we have, we can offer to God. And that is done. How do you offer? Suppose when you buy a new house, offer that to God. We often bring some priest and worship and bring some holy presence there, and they put a cross, or you put a photograph of Sri Ramakrishna or Kali, Mother Kali, whatever you like, you put that. That is not just to protect the house. That is to say, oh Lord, this house belongs to you. If you have that idea, then that house is offered to God. We can offer anything. New car you buy, you offer that car to God. This car belongs to God, and I am just using it as prasad. Prasad cannot be only eating thing. Prasad can be anything that we use. We can even offer the clothes that we buy. Lord, it belongs to you, and I use as prasad. So we can offer to God everything that we buy newly to use. In Ramakrishna Mission, our centers, in publication centers, whenever new magazine comes or new book comes, we offer that to Sri Ramakrishna. That Lord, it is offered to you. And first thing to offer to Sri Ramakrishna, it belongs to you. It has come out by your grace. And with that, all the things we get connected with Lord, and He is the Supreme Being who gives us knowledge and the power and the skill to bring out that. Ego comes down and connection becomes stronger. That's why in our household, that is the system. In villages still some new fruit grows. Beautiful. First fruit is to be offered to God. So whatever we have, we buy new one, we can offer to God. That is also another kind of worship. So that we can start any time. It is said in the Bhagavatam, Yad yad ishtatamam loke yadcha ati priyam atmanah tat nivedayan mahyam tada anantaya kalpate. What happens by that offering? You create enormous things. Sri Krishna said in the Bhagavata. He says, what is most covetable to people in general, and whatever is especially dear to oneself, should be offered unto me. That offering produces infinite results. Just that much of offering, that it belongs to God, that creates infinite results. The great result is, you are not proud of a possession. You think it's not my possession, it is the prasad of God, it is the gift of God, it all belongs to God. That is a wonderful feeling when you do not own the things and you think that is owned by God. You have to practice that. This kind of worship is to be practiced. Another kind of worship is service to holy and needy. That's also worship. come to holy person and you sacrifice your wealth or time or energy or your pleasure, all you sacrifice that and be of help. And that is also a kind of worship of God when we offer that helping hand to the people who need. And that also makes our connection. When the people who help the children for education in India, many are there who give money to South Africa, many through World Vision, many give through Ramakrishna Mission. And then the child who gets money, and then you want to know how this child is doing. And that child who you didn't know, nothing you knew, just you gave some like $100 per year. But then when the child does better in exam, progressing, you feel happy. Not because you gave something, but you feel connected with that person. This being connected with the people is being connected with God. People you do not know, and what real gift is, giving something of which you will be not getting return anything. Just you give to someone unknown. You won't get anything in return. But that person's joy, that person's help, and that person's fulfillment of need itself is a great worship of God. The helping that being is pleasing Lord. So that way service of needy is always a mode of worship. Another worship is mental worship. And mental worship, we don't need anything. All the things are in mind. And mental worship are of two types. One is you just sit and meditate Lord into your heart, and then think of the articles, the flower, you are having the beautiful flowers and put in your hand, and then you offer to Lord just in imagination. And you offer light, and you offer fruits and food. And you be with the divine which is within you without anything cooking anything. You don't have to cook. You don't have to know to cook the food. But you can imagine there are nice food that Lord is pleased with, and you offer and think that Lord is eating. How long you get connected with the Lord, and you are in the presence of divine, in the presence of God with that type of mental worship is very helpful. Another mental worship is japam and meditation. That is called upasana. It's still simpler, you don't have to think. Just repeat the name of God. Be there, think of God, and just repeat the name of God. The name of God is such a wonderful offering to God, and so strong connection it makes, one becomes amazed. And it has so much of power of love and purification, power of purifying our mind. The more we do japam with the thought of God in our heart, the more we become purified. And what is the sign of purification of heart? What becomes when we are pure, more and more pure? We become more and more peaceful, more and more happy, less and less worried, less and less fearful. That is the sign of purity of heart, and that is the sign of spiritual progress. Another type of worship is worshipping God in the symbols of the divine. If you don't want to worship God in idol, you can think of divine being. Like this, what are the symbols of best symbols of divine? Something bright, like the sun itself is symbol of God. Because sun is light. The fire is another symbol of God. All ancient times going on through in Zoroastrianism, it is all fire that is worshipped. And sun is worshipped in Hindus, and many all worship sun. So these are feeling that whenever we see sun, in India there is a system in the mornings and they will make pranam and they will worship as God. Not God, but as the symbol of God. Because it is bright, it is light, it gives us warmth, it gives us life. That's why sun is the greatest symbol of God. And seeing sun, you think of God, you worship God, you bow down and some offer water to sun. People often say, you are offering water to sun, that water go to sun. There was in Guru Nanak's life an incident there. So people in Guru Nanak went to Haridwar, and there were people after taking a dip in Ganga, they are offering water from hands to sun, towards east, facing east. So what Guru Nanak did, he started facing west and was putting water like that towards west. The other who were taking deep, they asked, what are you doing? He said, what are you doing? He asked, Guru Nanak asked. And they said, we are offering water to sun. Guru Nanak said, I am putting water to my fields. Which field? My fields are in Punjab. And you are in Haridwar. So far in Punjab. Do you think water will go to Punjab by putting it in Ganga in Haridwar? If you offer water and it goes to sun, so why it's so far away? Why my water will not go to, if your water can reach to sun, my water should reach to my fields in Punjab. That was what Guru Nanak said to the people who do not understand why do they offer water to sun. It is not offering water to sun, it is offering water to God, where sun is the symbol of God. It is remembering that all-pervading supreme reality, and that is an act of offering, that is an act of worship. But water doesn't go there, but that makes our mind more pure by that act. It is said in one of the scriptures that what is the best worship? How to worship God in how many ways? It is said, Prathama Pratima Puja. The very initial worship, the first kind of worship is Pratima Puja. You have an idol, you feel the presence of Lord there, beautiful image of Krishna, or you love Divine Mother, then you offer the things, pray to him or pray to her. That is Prathama, that is the most initial, first stage. Japa Stotrati Madhyama. What is the second type of worship which is better than this? It's Japa and Stotra. You chant, read something, chant something. That is the second type. Japa here means the chanting of something. Uttama Manasi Puja. The third and the best is mental worship. And mental worship, of course, is doing mental japam. This japam, what is said here, is like chanting of the mantras and praise of the Lord. But this mental japam, the mantra we get from the Guru, that upasana is the best worship, the scripture says. Uttama Manasi Puja. Is there anything better than the best? He says, yes. Uttamottama, best than the better than the best is Soham Puja. I am that. I am that divine being. I am that pure consciousness. I am that self, Atma. To be always aware of that is the best worship. Uttamottama is that kind of worship that has been said. But that's very hard to do. But the best form of worship for most of us, where we stand in our spiritual practice, is japam, no doubt. So japam, the mantra has got so much power. It is said, what is mantra? Very meaning of the mantra is manana trayate iti mantra. When you think of it, when you are aware of mantra, when you repeat mantra, it has the power to take you across. Across what? Across relative existence, across the fear of this world. It can take you beyond this worldly existence to the awareness of God. That's why it's called Manana Trayate Mantra. And this mantra being so powerful, that's why our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. God has given all its power to the name. And Nama Nami Aveda. And the name and the person being who is identified, denoted by name are inseparable, one and same. When we say Ram, it is Ram, the God. When you say Shiva, the name, very word, is God Himself. So, repeating the name in silence, as instructed by Guru, is the best form of spiritual worship. This upasana is the best form at our spiritual level. It doesn't deny the worship, ritual worship, which is also helpful, but one can grow through that, and the more time we use in doing this sort of repeating the name of God, the more is progress guaranteed. And also, considering that God resides in the human heart mostly, where the most is manifested, it resides everywhere. In my heart it is there. So when God is here, the body is temple. Consider your body as temple and God as residing into your heart. And take care of the temple, keep it clean, keep it healthy, repair it if it is damaged somewhere. And how to repair it? Not that it is your body, but it is the temple of God. Just dedicate your body to God. It doesn't belong to you. It is not your thing. You do not possess it. But it is a property of God, and I should take care of that. With that attitude, if we take care of our body, it is a great worship. And when God is worshipped through prayer, meditation, japam, God reveals. Once it was asked, how long we have to wait for God? You have to go on doing spiritual practice. With every step of practice, every day of practice, there comes more purity and more joy. We progress inch by inch, slowly we progress. And the wait may be long, may be quick, we don't know. At what really state we are, when the grace of God comes, we don't know. So there is the story of Sabari in the Ramayana, a very popular story. The Sabari was an old woman. She became a disciple of Rishi Matanga at a young age, and after that she served Matanga Rishi, and when Matanga died, before that she asked, when will I be like you? When I will have realization? She said, wait, Rama will come to you. You have served me well. Rama, God himself will come to you. You don't have to go to God. God will come to you. She had become so pure, so holy. And she was waiting for Rama. Every day, the teacher didn't say when Rama will come. He said, Rama will surely come to you. And she lived in a forest, in a small hermitage, alone by herself, getting old. But she used to wait and think Rama may come today. And for Rama to offer something when Rama comes, what do I offer? She was in the forest. There were some wild berries, it's called in Hindi. Wild berries were there, she used to pluck those. And she wanted to offer the best berries. She doesn't know which is sweet and which is sour. So she used to bite the berries and taste, and whatever was sweet, she used to keep in the basket to be offered to Rama, and whatever was sour, she used to throw away. And like this, she was doing every day, day after day, year after year, she was waiting and waiting. But she was certain that Rama will come one day. She had become very old, and Rama did come to her. And she was so happy to see Rama and the promise of her Guru Matanga fulfilled. What to do, she doesn't know. And then she had that, ready she was that day. And she offers that which was beaten by her, the berries. And Lakshmana was angry. How you offered to Rama this thing which you already ate the first part, you cannot offer that. And he saw Rama accepted gladly and he was going to eat. Then Lakshmana reminds him, brother, this was already eaten by that lady, why are you eating this? He doesn't know the power of devotion, power of love. If we have love, if we have devotion, everything is pure. There is nothing more purifying than the power of love. It is the most powerful thing. And with that love, it was purified. It was not soiled. It was not made unholy by the biting of that lady. And Rama gladly accepts that. And Rama teaches her the 9 types of devotion. Thinking, serving holy man, repeating God's name, worshipping and serving God, like those things. 9 Navavidha Bhakti is very popular in Ramayana. There is a story of Shoemaker's Dream by Edwin Markham. One cobbler, he had a dream. Jesus came to his dream and said, I'll come to you tomorrow to your house. Dream was so intense, when he woke up, he couldn't feel that it was just a dream. For him it was a real Jesus coming and saying to him. So he started getting ready for Jesus to come that day. He went to forest, brought some boughs and greens and decorated his house. Jesus is coming, his Lord is coming. Now he's waiting for knock at the door. The door will be knocked and the latchet will be opened and some divine resplendent, that person will come, the Lord of my heart will come and he will talk to me, I will going to touch his lotus feet. That was his wish. And whole day he was waiting since morning. Morning went a little ahead and there was a knock, he opens. It was an old man which had no shoes in the cold winter and he had torn shoes, half foot coming out and nothing was there. This cobbler brought that man inside. He was not unhappy that Jesus didn't come. He was waiting still. And then he gave him new shoes, asked him to get warm, and then everything was done. Then he went. He said, now waiting for Jesus again. Now there was a knock, and one old lady comes with a burden of firewoods on her head, and she was hungry for many days, and this cobbler brings her home inside and feeds him, asks him to rest, and after she was rested, she then goes away. He's doing this because he was a very nice person, good person, helpful person. Atithi Devo Bhava, he had never heard, but he practiced that. It is not that Atithi Devo Bhava one has to hear from the scriptures. It is there in the heart of human being. After all, the scriptures are the words of Lord, and that Lord works through our heart. And then didn't come the third time. Third time happens, knock and opens, and she hears a cry of a child. A child had lost his street, and he was crying in the cold. He brings that child inside, keeps him warm, and takes him and goes to find the house of the boy in that village and gives him. The child is returned to home. Comes back, it was already evening, he was very sad, Lord didn't come. He started praying, Lord, you promised that you will come to my house, but you didn't come. I'm so sorry, I was panting to see your form and to greet you and welcome you. You're just praying, then hears the voice of the Lord. And Lord says, lift up your heart, for I kept my word. He said, Lord, you didn't keep your word. You told me that you are coming, but you didn't come. And Jesus, he hears the voice, Jesus saying to him, lift up your heart, for I kept my word. 3 times I came to your friendly door. 3 times my shadow was on your floor. I was the man with the bruised feet. I was the woman you gave food to eat. I was the child on the homeless street. That's how God comes to us in so many forms. And Holy Mother was once asked, does God really listen to our prayers? And she said, yes, Sri Ramakrishna had said that he listens to our prayer. And what Sri Ramakrishna had said, it has to come true. If the prayer has to be sincere, and you have to, Sri Ramakrishna also said, whatever you pray to God, it is fulfilled. God is Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. But you have to go near the wish-fulfilling tree and then pray with faith and sincerity. Few conditions are said. You have to go near the wish-fulfilling tree, near God, and approaching God, feeling His presence. And they say, both Holy Mother also said and Sri Ramakrishna also said, if your prayer is from the heart and it comes and you cry while you pray, you ask something and you have so intensity you pray that you cry to Lord, Lord will definitely answer your prayers. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said, and that's what Holy Mother again re-emphasized, that when Sri Ramakrishna has said, it has to come true. Lord definitely listens to our prayers. Prayer for spiritual illumination, prayer for anything in life that we want, for us, for our dear ones, for others. Lord listens to our prayer if it is sincere, if it is by approaching God. And when to do that prayer? Prayer should start now. That's the one type of worship, is every moment we should be in connection, in contact with God. That's why they say, in religion they say, pray unceasingly. Always be aware of the presence of God in you, outside you, in the heart of every living soul. The God is verily present. Treat all as the temple of God and behave all as your own soul, as your own self, and that will make us more and more spiritual. That's why worship God. And when? Not when you become 50 or when you retire, but now worship itself, the worship.